Are you ready?
A Shot of Wrestling, episode 209. And away we go.
Wait your damn shot, boy. Is that the message you got? We about to go live. Are you ready to rock? So take a shot. Oh, so take a shot. Oh, yeah. I'm a street breaker. I'm a heartbreaker. This is my dawn. I'm a mold razor. Strip land into board. About to seek and destroy. It's an SOW. Let me hear you make noise. Take a shot, boy. Is that the message you got? We about to go live. Are you ready to rock? So take a shot.
This week in A Shot of Wrestling, will Becky be able to return as the man? Is Impact the place for women's wrestling? An interview with Savannah Evans and more.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of A Shot of Wrestling. I am your host at Michael J. Putty. I am in a fantastic mood this week. What a great week, despite the fact that Mark Schwann's back. Mark, how you doing, buddy?
Why are you the biggest dick in the world?
That's what your mom said.
We're in lockdown right now. You know, we should be all loving our neighbors, loving thy brother. And here you are showing hate to me, the Hollywood assassin, Mark Schwann. You can't even introduce me right.
The Hollywood assassin.
Oh, you're such a fucker.
Mark Schwann. But joining us today,
even more of a dick.
Special guest, the one and only Eric Jaden, Sexy Zayn, Rose, Black. What color is it this week? Rose?
You know, Mark, you're right. He is a dick.
He's a dick. You know what? All right, I'm going to do this right, because we do have a very special guest right now. He is a good friend of mine. He is the mentor of the Hollywood Assassin. He is the leader of the Satsujin Squad. He is the founder of the Satsujin Squad. He is a former LAW champion, a former BWF champion. He's just the greatest of all time in the indies. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for the sexy assassin, Eric Jaden.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's what I'm talking about. Thank you, Hollywood. I appreciate that.
Anytime, man. I got you. All
right. We'll take over the show.
I forgot the godfather of A Shot of Wrestling, too. I mean, he was here before we knew who Mark Schwann was.
Mark Schwann, your favorite actor, by the way. You can find me at yourfavoriteactor.com. Wink.
Nice plug. So, I'm in fantastic mood. Eric, how you doing, man? First time on the show as a full-time guest host.
Yeah, it's been a while on there. I'm doing good. I'm taking it day by day. I've been watching the news, see what's going on, watching our government.
Don't do that. That's depressing.
I try to limit the news watching at least to like once or twice a day. I usually be stuck to it. Yeah.
We have to be careful, Putty. Jaden could easily turn this into a political podcast real fast.
Oh, I know that. Yeah. I'm trying to avoid that slippery slope, yeah.
Well, here's a fun fact of Eric Jaden. I used to do podcasts, political podcasts.
Really?
Local podcasts, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, when I was in school, I was part of the political debate team.
Nice.
And that was one of the things I did, so I do follow. But just following the trends, what's going on.
Are you still undefeated?
Yes, definitely.
Longest rating political champion. We're going to add that to your resume.
Oh, yeah. That's still not lost. But just hoping that once things get to the new norm, because, Mark, me and you talked about this, there is no going back to the old norm. We get to the new norm and see what life takes us and see, hopefully, pro wrestling can come back. That's the biggest question mark right now.
I think pro wrestling will come back. It's just like, how will it come back? What are we going to see that's different about it? Because things are going to be different for sure. Not necessarily say that professional wrestling is going to be dead, especially in the indie scene. I think it's just going to take a bit, and there's going to be a lot of precautions. It's going to be. It's just like it just makes me think like, in what way do we come back? I don't know, but we will come back, I think. But Eric, my man, like. You know, COVID-19, it hit you pretty hard, too, the whole thing. Can you talk to us a little bit about that? You know, how are you doing, like, physically, mentally? What's going on, bro?
Well, I have, the fans already know that recently, I'm not talking about recently by weeks, but over the past year or so, I was diagnosed with, depression and severe anxiety. And then I was diagnosed with PTSD. A lot of stuff that was related to past experiences in my life. And my chosen job profession. So a lot of things added up. So I've been suffering through that. Then right after the coronavirus hit, I got sick, really, really bad sick. And I went to get checked out and they tested me for it and it came out negative. But I had every single one of the symptoms, times 10. So they let me go. I still feel crappy. I go back. They tested me. And they said they tested me. I had a bacterial infection and I have a lung infection. They were going to keep me. And the doctor who was seeing my treatment sweared that I had COVID-19. Swear it on it. He has it. And they tested me every single day. They couldn't, find it, so they had to keep me isolated, unfortunately, because that was about when it hit, actually, and all the hospitals were pretty much overwhelmed, and they couldn't. The hospital I went to actually separated, put me in some isolation rooms far away. One of the worst times, I have to say, in my life, because I was by myself. Only a few people knew where I was. Mark, you knew.
Yeah.
So I snuck, this is funny. I stuck my cell phone with me. Mind you, I had this ratchet nurse. I swear to God, man, Nurse Ratchet. That's what I call her, who always try to catch me or try to take the phone away from me. But that was only my only lifeline out there, because one, if you called the hospital, I didn't exist. Because they wouldn't give out information on, they had me diagnosed on the covert patients, but I was non-covert on there. Second, then you can't visit me because they won't let you go up and see me. So I was in a room, and the worst part is, because I have anxiety, they put a plastic sheet covering over me on there. So I just added more to it, and it was bad because all I felt was I was being drugged every day. Every single day, just drug, just so I can get by. I hated it, but at the same time, if they didn't do it, I think I probably would have gone nuts myself or something to try to escape. So I'm not going to say did permanent damage to my psyche, but once I got out, I felt very weird. I had culture shock, and I stayed home for a while. So I'm getting better. I am better.
So you were there for over a week, right?
No, I was there for 2 weeks.
It was 2 weeks, right? Dude, it was nuts, man.
Yeah.
I remember, Satsujan Squad, we are legit, like, we're brothers. It's a brotherhood that we have here. So we're always keeping tabs with each other. And, we didn't hear from you for a while. We knew what was going on. We knew you were sick. We knew you were on your way to a doctor or a hospital at that point to get checked out. Then we're just like, yo, guys, has anyone heard anything? No, blah, blah, blah. It was just wild because we haven't heard from you. So it was scary. It was just scary. And then when we finally heard your voice, and there was a pop. We all like, oh, thank God. But we heard your voice. I was like, man, he's going through shit.
Yeah.
Like, it's one thing to read about, like, when you're reading the text, like, hey, I'm not feeling good, but you hear it. I was like, wow. So it's honestly, man, it's so good that to see your face right now. It's good to you sound so much better. So much better. Like, Putty, if you were to have heard Jaden and how he sounded like, man, it would just break your heart. So, dude, I'm so thankful. Prayed for you every day, bro.
I appreciate that, man.
I'm glad you're here with us.
Yeah, I'm happy, man. Yeah, trust me. Anything beats being locked down for 2 weeks in a hospital and not knowing. And let me tell you something, man. This phone, the phone I'm using, we're talking to, saved my life in a sense, because that was my only contact to the world. That was it.
So even on the coronavirus, what did you have? They ever diagnosed you?
It was a severe bacterial infection that spread into my lungs.
Okay.
God damn it. And especially with all the symptoms that it sounded like it was. It sounds so similar to COVID-19.
Oh, they swear. I tell you, the doctor sweared. He could have sweared on his license that I had it, that the test coming back were false, that I had to have it. I exhibit every single symptom. And when it was proven it was not, then there was the rush to make sure I didn't get covert. Because if I did get covert in my condition, unfortunately, it's a wrap for Eric Jaden. And they ended up transporting me to another hospital. I didn't even know that. I was put asleep. They transported me.
I didn't know that. They put you asleep for that? Jesus Christ.
I woke up and I thought I was still in the same place. The only time I realized I wasn't was because I saw an ID badge from the nurse. So they from St. John's to Jamaica Hospital I ended up, in there. But there they were. Actually, it was nice. It was a bigger room, and they started more of a recovery process there. But for 3 days I was on the respirator.
Oh, wow.
And, it was just horrible. Like I said, I am happy I'm, back home. I'm dealing it one day at a time. It did affect me. I couldn't leave the house, guys. I couldn't leave the house when I first got here, and I slowly had to overcome that anxiety. And now, although they don't want me to go far, they don't want me to put myself in situations where I can get COVID-19, which I don't know. So I stay pretty much locally. And I see the doctor, and progress is good. I mean, now I'm training I go early to the morning to the beach because obviously there's no gyms. I take my resistance bands and my weights, and I jog, and I do a lot of CrossFit, trying to just stay in shape because quarantine, I can tell you that much, you're going to get a belly no matter what, okay?
My wife saw me the other day. It's like, you're getting a little bit of a belly. It's happening.
Yeah, it's either from food or alcohol.
Both. Cheers.
Or both. So, it's great. Look, I'm here. We're talking wrestling. I've been able to had a lot of fans reach out to me. When I see you guys, I'll show you just tons of fan messages, tons, and I was very overwhelmed over that because a lot of people didn't know what happened to me, and it's just sad in a sense that we're in this stage right now that we have to live through this, and this is a story we're going to tell our, future family members that we lived through a pandemic. My only thing is I hope and pray that we finally get out of this, but I know for a fact, and it's going to hit a lot of people in the face, when reality hits the face, there is no more old norm. It's a new norm. We're going to get used to of living a different life, different lifestyle, with gloves or face mask or whatever the deal is, and that's going to be for a long time. My thing is I hope that when the fall comes around, we don't get hit with a second wave. But unfortunately, all the numbers and the science dictate that that's what it's leading to.
Yeah, it seems like it's pretty much inevitable for that to happen. But the goal is that we're better prepared for when that does happen.
Yes.
Right now, we just need to get some merch out, some Satsujin Squad face coverings, maybe.
The money's at.
We do.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, we have that. We have the sample of that. So I'm going to talk with.
I saw it, man. It's sexy.
Oh, it's ridiculous. It's
great. Sexy.
Black with the logo. And two of our very good Satsujin supporters and friends, they make our mask for us that you see in our entrance. Elizabeth Mena and Ivan Adon, great people. I'm going to shout them out.
They're amazing people.
Yeah.
Much love to them.
Yeah, I love them.
They're such kind-hearted people, truly genuine.
Yeah.
They're
the official Satsujin fan club.
Oh, hell yeah.
They're always there. They go to our shows. They bring us food, beer, which at times we had to kick somebody's asses to get them out of there because people start taking advantage of that. And I'll say it out loud. I do not give a rat's ass that after party and outside is Satsujin. If you're invited, you can drink. If you're not, don't ask for a free beer.
It's got to be like the MVP lounge. We need to get some ropes involved maybe.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Like a bouncer or two.
Yeah. The only Satsujin people, yeah. Michael J, he's always there. He goes there to get his drink.
Right.
And,
So, Jaden, so clearly then you don't listen to BWF commentary because Putty is not Satsujin material.
Well, yeah, he's dick riding too good, so I get it.
But again, I've known Eric longer than you, so I want you to know your role and shut your mouth.
Respect. I respect that. You definitely know longer than I do.
Oh, my God.
Two interviews, 5 hotline shows. Now we finally, as a guest host, it's your family. When you hear your family,
you guys run deep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Putty, we can go on all day about this, man. We got some news, don't we?
Yep. Let's get into the news.
Yes.
It's time for In the News with Michael J. Putty and Mark Schwab.
All right, gentlemen, getting right into the news, Becky Lynch changed the landscape of WWE, as well as her and Seth Rollins' lives, with her announcement that she is pregnant, relinquishing the Raw Women's Championship. Many are wondering if she will ever return to the ring. It's not a question we can answer right now. Everyone's different. Every woman handles pregnancy differently, so we can't really answer that right now. But do you guys think we'll see her return to the WWE?
Well, here's what I say. First off, I want to say congratulations to Becky Lynch and to Seth Rollins. It's a wonderful thing that they're starting a new chapter in their lives. We can tell already, though, when Becky Lynch made that announcement, she had a mixed bag of emotions, and she even admitted it. She looked kind of pissed in a way.
Wouldn't you be? Yeah, you're the height of your career.
She's the height of her career. I will say this. If this is how she goes out, this is the way you go out. She's retiring on top of the game, literally breaking barriers for the women's division, longest reigning women's champion, on top of the demand, the face of the company, and to not be defeated. So that's the way to go out. Becky Lynch, in my opinion, we've seen it time and time again with women that leave. And it's not knocking women, but it's just the schedule that WWE has, that the wrestling has. It's not like any other sport. For Becky Lynch to come back and to be the man, I think is almost near impossible. I hope she does it. Never say never in this industry. But, I just think it's going to be near impossible for her to do. I think she does come back, but in a limited capacity, kind of like the way how Brie Bella came back. Or maybe, I hope not the way Mickie James came back, but more so maybe along the lines of like maybe even Trish Stratus, here and there.
Brie Bella didn't want to come back. She came back for her sister and Daniel Bryan. She didn't even want to come back. That's why it was so limited.
But Brie Bella was limited in that sense. So Becky Lynch, I don't think it's going to come back on a full-time schedule.
Okay. Eric?
Well, I had to apologize for this because I was doing some, extra work in Raw. I went back to my hotel room and I had a knock on the door and, a lady came in and, stuff happened and I forgot to pull out. So,
it happens.
It happens. And, I am the father of Becky Lynch's baby.
Oh, shit. Breaking news.
Breaking news, ladies and gentlemen. Seth Rollins versus Eric Jaden for the rights for the child. It is a ladder match.
Where's Maury?
Listen,
let's get Maury on the phone.
It's gonna be a tough road in a sense. It's tough. Like Mark said, our business is tough. It's dynamic. It consumes you. Okay, when you are a wrestler 24/7 pretty much. It's very hard depending on the schedule that you get. And she had a schedule. She traveled all over the place. She was one of the top talent in the company. But as a woman, if you want to settle down and you want to have a baby and try to return back, I've seen the comebacks, but they haven't been spectacular.
See,
in a sense, yeah.
I haven't really seen too many comebacks. Trish Stratus retired to have a family. I don't really know what happened with Mickie James. I know she came back just to be enhancement talent and put the girls over. Brie Bella, Maurice just came back for random appearances. They didn't come back full time. So this is really the first time I'm experiencing a wrestler in her prime have a baby. And can she come
Clearly
back?
not planned. I mean, she talks about, like, you even see like little hints at it in her tweet, her goodbye tweet. I think she had an interview with People magazine where she talks about she really doesn't know what the future holds for her career.
Because no one can.
I think that scares her.
Because no one can. Because every woman, being a straight man, never having a baby before, I'm going to just talk from randomness. Every woman reacts differently to pregnancy. Some can bounce back right away. Some can't. So it depends on her and her body. And if she can come back, maybe she could be the surprise entrant to the Royal Rumble in 2 years. Or maybe she'll come back for like a brief hint and then leave. Because
I would love for her to be that one to come back. If anyone can do it, I believe it would be Becky Lynch. But it's just the odds are against her. And, reality has to sink in, or it might not happen.
But you guys also think about their situation, because Seth's on the road all the time too.
And that's a great point.
So does she come back for a spit and he goes away? Do they
work a schedule out?
Yeah, exactly. So
who knows?
This is unprecedented waters here. The first time.
I will say this. If this is indeed the end for the man, and clearly she was not ready for that to happen, if this is indeed the case, that doesn't bode well for their relationship, because I guarantee you somewhere down the line, Becky Lynch will look at Seth Rollins with resentful eyes if she hasn't already.
Or she'll have a baby, fall in love with the baby, like nothing's worth risking being a mother, and she'll just want to stay home. We can't predict what's going on. I'm
going to tap off Mark. I agree with them, Mark, in a sense. If you look at it, it really, like, you had two top stars in their prime. They're doing great. You look at it, it's irresponsible what happened if you think about it. Okay, now a birth of a child, the news of a child coming is a blessing. I get it. All right, but think about it. They're at their current roles, at the current positions in their company. That shouldn't have happened. It should have been more careful. Okay, but God bless them. She's having it. And I noticed that she's happy but sad at the same time because it was unexpected. But I'm going to say it again. The odds are against her coming back. If she can, I believe she could. One person could do it. But
if anybody can, she could, yeah.
Yeah, but it hasn't been seen. Like, you know what I'm saying?
I have a question then for you, Jaden.
No woman has ever main evented WrestleMania before, and she did it. So if
she did it. Like I said, she broke a lot of barriers. And if anyone could do it, it could be Becky. But we just don't know. But Jaden, I have a question for you, because you're someone that is a seasoned veteran. Vince McMahon, he's the promoter of this company. He gave Becky Lynch the reins to be the man, to be the face of the company. Let's face the fact. She was the face of the company.
Yeah.
This happens now.
Mm-hmm.
The whole pregnancy thing. Right away, you lose two big stars. You lost Roman Reigns, and now you're losing Becky Lynch. Do you think Vince McMahon, in his position, do you think he would second guess whether to give that reins to a woman again because of this?
Yeah, I would. You're investing so much money into one person. You're investing so much effort into one person in a sense to make them, that your top star in your company. You owe the promotion, I would say, at least, and I say, listen, Vince, thank you for this, but I want to tone it down because I want to go in a couple of months. I want to start settling down. I want to have a family. You know what I'm saying? So that's how you go
could do the
about
same
it.
thing, though.
But
the same thing.
I agree. But it didn't happen this way, right? As we know so far, she got pregnant. Yes, we know it was unexpected. And then obviously now, the WWE can't do anything about it now. It's coming. It's happening. And it's something that you take a hit on because she's making money. The company's making money because the company's pushing her. Now that's loss. And it sounds so harsh, but this is wrestling is a business.
Wrestling is a very harsh industry.
Yeah,
absolutely. And again, I don't people thinking like, oh, I'm anti-women. I'm so for the women. I love the women. I love women's wrestling. I love the women's revolution. Not just necessarily in wrestling, but in life in general. I know Vince McMahon is kind of antiquated in those views. It seems like he didn't necessarily want to move this route, but now he could easily just look at everyone and be like, "Oh, I told you."
I mean, well, think about this. If I pushed you guys as a tag team and you guys became World Tag Team Champions, right? And I got your face all over TV and I got you all over the place, and all of a sudden you come up to me and say, "Oh, you know what? We don't want to do this anymore." Like, I would probably want to kill you guys because I just invested a lot of money, to put you guys there. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
so
she's not saying she doesn't want to do it anymore. She can't do it anymore. It's
No, we get that. It's just the fact that, again, it's a business. You know what I'm saying? And, something happened. Now that's going to affect her. It's going to affect the WWE. But really, what can you do about it now? You just have to wish them the best.
But do you think someone like Stephanie McMahon and Triple H, they obviously have a lot to say what goes on there. Do you think if anything they would – does this deter their opinions at all? Or do you think they still carry forth their original plans?
Oh, no, they'll carry forth. Yeah, I agree.
But Vince McMahon's going to be the stubborn one, you think?
No, I don't think so. I don't think even. I think the door's open for her to come back. I don't think they're holding this
not
necessarily
not necessarily against Becky Lynch, but I'm talking about giving that reins to say like maybe Rhea Ripley to be the face of the company.
If there's somebody, we'll take Rhea. If Rhea is
Rhea
at that moment,
it's Rhea. He's such a Putty does this on purpose, by the way.
What an ass! If she happens to be the top superstar, the moneymaker that moment, and then Becky wants to come in, you know what I'm saying? Maybe Vince like, wait a minute, I can't. I could use you, but I got somebody making the money now. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't work that way because even if she has a baby, now we're looking at what? At least a solid 9 months, right? After the baby. You know what I'm saying? She's going to be with the baby. And let's say she has to get in shape. You're looking at least a year and a half, maybe, to a return.
I would say longer because you got to raise the baby. You got to find somebody. She admittedly came in here to this country by herself. We don't necessarily know Seth Rollins' situation, but we know both of them. They have that rigorous schedule. It's going to be hard. But
I wish them the best. That's it.
Exactly. Time will tell. Yeah. Congratulations to them, and hopefully, they'll figure it out.
One news story. 10 minutes. Fantastic.
It's a big one, Putty. It's a big story, though.
It is a big story.
Mark, you mentioned them losing big names. Well, another name we lost in other news, Sami Zayn reportedly has some heat on him for his decision to stay home and not work W tapings during this pandemic. Dave Meltzer notes, and I quote, they officially announced an IC title tournament on SmackDown, even though nobody can say it publicly for obvious reasons. There is a lot of unhappiness that Zayn exercised the option that was given to everybody regarding not wrestling if you don't want to do it right now. A lot of other talents, he goes on to say, don't want to wrestle, but they feel like they're forced to for job security reasons. Mark, you mentioned last week about Roman Reigns being heat on him for staying home, and now this might back up what you were saying last week.
Right. I mean, it goes to show, my wife asked a question before. She watched Daniel Bryan wrestle on SmackDown on Friday.
Oh, great match.
she was saying, like, little Daniel Bryan with his autoimmune disease and yada yada, like, how can he wrestle? I'm like, well, look what happened to Sami Zayn.
What does he have?
I know he's got some sort of autoimmune issue. I don't know the exact thing that's going on, but he admitted that on the Bella's podcast, or I think Bree did actually. It just goes down to the fact, like, yeah, people know Vince. People know how he responds. Like, yeah, he's going to say that because, of course, he feels obligated to say it. But, actions speak louder than words. Look what was going on with Roman Reigns. Now you see what's going on with Sami Zayn. Like, if you're a competitor in a mid-level card, or maybe even a lower-level card, you see what happens to your big stars like Roman Reigns and, like, Sami Zayn to some extent. You're going to second guess, like, well, do I take off? I don't feel safe, but I got to continue. I got to get a paycheck because where am I going to go?
Not many people feel safe because, especially with these cuts coming up, they can't afford to not partake in the show. Eric, your thoughts?
All right, two things. One, Uncle Dave, was that he reporting or did he express an opinion on the matter?
Notes.
Okay.
Go either way.
Yeah, because I don't really put a lot of trust in Uncle Dave, so whatever. That's number one. Number two.
I'm with you on that, Jaden.
Yeah, I don't put a lot of trust in that man. Number two is, okay, this hits home in a sense because if you have some level of fear of contracting this disease, which is very valid, you have a right, okay? But now Sami Zayn found himself in a situation that, that millions of Americans are going through right now. Do I go back to work? Now, you're right, Mark. Where does he go? If he says, I don't want to go back, he gets stripped of the title. Where does he go? What do any other wrestlers, on the undercard, they'll be like, oh, my God, look at what's happening. Should we stay on? Should we just wrestle on him? What do? You know what I'm saying? You're really pretty much forced to do that. I think that Sami Zayn, if he did not want to wrestle, he needed to go anyway, drop the title, do the honors the right way, okay? And let the WWE start an Intercontinental, title tournament, and you go off from there. Again, it goes back to what we talked about. If the company is giving you a push, they're pushing money, they push a title on you, you have a responsibility to the company, okay? Now, if you don't want to be the champion anymore, you can walk up to Vince and say, I don't want this anymore, Vince.
So then why does Vince say then? Like, hey, guys, you're not going to lose your spot, yada, yada, if you don't feel comfortable, do it. Because obviously that's a lie. It's not true. Why even bother saying it?
Oh, because he learned a valuable lesson in propaganda from his grandfather, Donald Trump. Okay, listen. Vince knows he has to always. The WWE has to always come out in a good light, and he's going to say, "Yeah,
you're a publicly traded company
this.
in the stock market. Yeah, you have to."
So if your boss says that to you, is it then your fault for listening to him?
What do you mean?
Well, no, cut you guys off. Yeah. We've been watching wrestling our whole lives.
Yeah.
Remember the late great Jack Tunney? You have to defend the title within 30 days. Now, that rule randomly went out the window when Brock Lesnar came around.
But
it was invoked when
Andrade was suspended and he still kept the title. But no,
it was invoked when same thing with Naomi. Naomi was hurt or something, and she had to be relinquished of her championship because she couldn't defend it within 30 days. So they kind of pick and choose lately when they want to invoke this rule. So I'm just curious why they're invoking this rule now with Sami Zayn, because I've noticed his absence the last couple weeks because his boys now are teaming with King Corbin. But if this didn't happen, no one would have been the wiser.
Allegedly, Sami Zayn was getting heat before this already, and I don't necessarily know. I get this, there's favoritism in every company, in every industry, so maybe that's the case what we're seeing right here. It just so happens to be some favoritism going on, and it's unfortunate for Sami Zayn, but hopefully this doesn't...
Sami Zayn wasn't really doing much. He was floundering for a while, and then he finally got this push, and now...
Yeah, well...
We'll see what happens, right? We'll see what happens when he returns.
It's sad.
When this is passed.
Yeah, it's sad. It is really sad.
In other news, Sting reportedly does not have a contract with WWE, according to Pro Wrestling Sheets. Their report notes that there's no contract yet, but doesn't mean there won't be one in the future. Contract negotiations are still going forward. But Mattel has pulled him from their current lineup, saying, and I quote, due to circumstances out of our control, Sting needed to be removed from our Legends Series 7 current lineup. Now, if you add this to the speculation that Sting might go into AEW after Cody Rhodes posted a GIF and Sting replied to that, I know Mark's answer right now, but Eric, do you think Sting is AEW bound?
Well, that sounds like a rumor that Uncle Dave might probably be spreading out there because I don't see
his
him.
name hasn't been attached to this story yet.
Well, I'm giving you some insider information. Okay. Uncle Dave is probably spreading that rumor on there. Yeah, because he's an idiot that way. But here's the thing with Sting. Love him, okay?
Man they call Sting.
The man they call Sting. I watched him growing up. I loved it. The yelling, the everything. He is one tough son of a bitch when it comes to bargaining, okay?
Yeah.
Because how does it take so long to sign somebody for a contract, okay? And Sting, I think he held up for the WWE for a while until they gave him what he wanted.
Yeah.
Now we're going back to the square one. Okay, Sting, either you stay with the WWE as a legend, okay, or you move on to somewhere else, or you don't wrestle anymore. Just don't leave us hanging. Don't leave the fans out there hanging. Do what you're going to do, because eventually you will fade away, and that's a fact. And but the way I feel like it's going about is like, he just like, how do you do 3 years of fucking pretty much bargaining for a contract? That's insane.
Mark?
Fade away, you talk about, Jay. Fade away.
Yeah.
What is left for him to do? He can't necessarily wrestle anymore. Can Sting the persona be a manager? Can Sting the persona be on commentary? Like, what can Sting necessarily do in this industry other than give expertise advice? Maybe I work as a producer, somewhere backstage. On camera, Sting's the type of person that you can't really do much else other than wrestle. I feel like I can't necessarily see him. Yeah, I don't necessarily see what else he can do. As far as whether he goes to AEW, I don't think he goes to AEW because I don't think AEW has the money. I don't think AEW right now has the money to hire him. I don't think any other company has the money to hire Sting right now. So if Sting just wants to lay low for a bit, cool. But I think Sting still has that hope. That slight hope that maybe he could have one match with the Undertaker and the Dead Man in a cinematic match. So if anything, that might make him more inclined to sign a deal with the E. I don't know. I don't know the man personally, but this is just what I'm seeing based on what the interviews he said.
Surprising.
Listen, yeah, get your money, Sting. Do the match, and hey, good luck.
In other news, Impact Wrestling announced this week they were signed Su Yung to a multi-year contract and also signed the Boricua Badass Tasha Steelz. Now you add that to the previous signings of Kimberly, Kylie Ray, and you add those to the names of the current roster: Taya Valkyrie, Jordan Grace, Rosemary, Havoc, Kiera Hogan, Tenille Dashwood, and even Tessa Blanchard. Impact Wrestling's women's division. Does anybody even come close?
People talk about the women's division NXT being the creme de la crop. I have to beg to differ here. Impact is doing a phenomenal job. Tasha Steelz is a phenomenal talent. I've seen her twice before in BCW firsthand. And my God, she's a phenomenal talent. Impact, people, if they don't know who she is, they're going to find out real fast. She is a treat. She's someone that, you just grabs your attention right away. And every woman you just listed, Putty, and I don't, me, I don't watch Impact on a regular basis, if much at all. I watch the highlights. But, every woman I know in that roster, and I know damn well they deliver time and time again.
One of the criticisms I heard months into AEW, again, I don't watch AEW, Mark, I know you do, was their women's division is lacking. So can their women's division even hold a candle to Impact right now?
I think, again, AEW is a startup company. I think AEW, they have some building blocks there. I think Britt Baker is someone that's really coming along. Every show gets better and better and better. I think over time you'll see that women's division eventually compete with with NXT's roster and Impact's roster. But time will tell.
I remember during SmackDown Live, when the brand split, SmackDown Live's women's division was amazing originally. But nowadays, it's just Impact's roster is phenomenal. Eric, your thoughts on the women's division of Impact?
The Impact's women's division is phenomenal right now. It's top number one, and nobody's even close to it. Not the E, not anybody else. They got some top level talent. I'm very happy Kimber finally got signed. I know her going way back to CCW days, so she's definitely deserves it. Tasha Steelz, came from the Damian Adams Wrestling Academy, trained by Damian Adams, and she was BCW also, and she got signed, and great talent. Listen, Mark's right. AEW is starting, so it's going to take a little time. Dr. Britt Baker, and all that, it's going to take a little time. WWE, it's just the same divas every single day. I swear to God. It's like, you just see that, on there. I would start moving some of the talent, female talent from NXT up to the main roster so we can see some fresh faces, because it's just ridiculous. Or AEW start signing some of the talent from NXT and build the women division from there, because right now nothing is touching Impact Wrestling with the women division.
Even before I was a fan of Impact and TNA, that was pretty much the highlight I've heard of across the board on these forums, internet. Impact / TNA women's division was next to none. What WWE's doing with the women's revolution, air quotes, Impact TNA did 5 years prior with Victoria, Mickie James,
Gail Kim,
yep,
Madison Rayne. So I don't think Impact TNA gets the credit they deserve for women's wrestling. And I guess
absolutely correct.
Rightly so, because they're the B, C tiered company.
Yes, and let me tell you something. The WWE right now is lagging behind.
Yeah,
with the women's division, lagging. So,
finally, in other news, The Undertaker revealed how he wants to end his career in an interview with People.com, saying, and I quote, "When you think of the old school Undertaker, that's the character that comes down to the ring, says, 'Thank you for being with me for 30 years. It's been a great career.' That's not something he would do. I've had an amazing career. I've been so blessed to have this career, far exceeding expectations. I want to go out like John Elway. John Elway went out. He won a couple of Super Bowls, Peyton Manning as well. I still got it. I got gas in the tank. I tore it down. Now I'm going to walk away with my head held high." How do you think Undertaker should walk away?
I think Undertaker missed a prime moment to walk away. I understand he wasn't a big fan of the match itself with Roman Reigns, but I thought that moment when he took off the gear, folded it up, and the gloves in the middle of that ring, and then walks out and it does one last hand up to the crowd. I thought that was a perfect way to end his career right there. The man doesn't need a retirement speech, doesn't need anything else. That was the way to end it. Now, at this point, I think you got to put him in the coffin, like dead ass. You got to put him in the coffin to end it.
I agree with watch that documentary, Chapter 1. I think that was supposed to be his final match, but he's The Undertaker. He didn't feel comfortable with that ending. You got to give him the, all right, you're The Undertaker, you go out however you want to go out. He didn't feel comfortable going out. That was supposed to be his ending. That was his ending.
Clearly, that was going to be his ending. They brought back Jim Ross for that one off.
Yeah.
He had a standing ovation in the back. Everyone treated it like it was it. It was over, especially the way, again, how he left that ring.
Yeah,
we all thought that was it.
I think it was supposed to how he was supposed to end it.
Right.
But now he's talking about Elway, Peyton Manning.
The dude's going to die in ring, for real.
Do you think he wants to go out winning the championship?
Listen, I think it'll be a big mistake if he does that, to be honest.
Trish did it.
No. I think it'll be a big mistake. His moment was that when the streak was broken. Okay? That's it. He would have left as a legend there. Okay? You would have left. I'm not saying he's not, but he would have left as a god. Okay? The streak is broken. Why bring it back? You know what I'm saying? To be honest, I loved Undertaker because Undertaker is one of my biggest inspirations because he was a gimmick. Okay?
Yeah.
He was a guy who said...
The only gimmick around nowadays.
Yeah, it was a gimmick. He played the gimmick. He evolved the gimmick. And two is he's the guy that says less is more. So let me just say one thing. I wish he, right there and then, had walked away. Now, it's up in the air, really. What's going to make it that big? I don't think anything's going to make it big unless you feel some cinematic thing and you put him in a NASA spaceship and fly him up to the moon and he has a match up in the moon. Come on.
There's still 4 parts left in this documentary. Do you think this Boneyard match was his perfect way to end it?
I will hope it would be.
I would hope so too. If he was going to end his career, that's how he would do it. That would be a good way to do it. But it's not going to be it because how many times have we seen Taker tease another rematch with AJ Styles? So we've seen those teaser moments at Money in the Bank and Monday Night Raw. So let's be real. The Boneyard match is not his last hurrah. We're going to see it hopefully maybe this year.
Hopefully.
Oh boy.
Mark, do you have an interview this week?
Yes, I do. I had an interview with a badass woman. We're going to find out some things about her that I don't think a lot of people knew. And, she brought up some interesting points, like how we might come back from this, from COVID-19 in the wrestling world. So, Savannah Evans, let's take it away.
All right, everyone, welcome to my interview segment. This is the Hollywood Assassin, your favorite actor, Mark Schwann, and I am here with a badass chick, Savannah Evans. Welcome to Shot of Wrestling.
Thanks. I didn't know I was on with a hotshot superstar from Hollywood.
What, you didn't IMDb me? You didn't Google me?
I should have. Learned my lesson.
How
Look
dare
at
you?
IMDb right now.
Good thing, actually, we have to practice social distancing, and I wouldn't normally talk to you like that, because I have to say, so the first time I entered to a BCW locker room was probably my second indie wrestling show ever, and I see you in the locker room. You're one of the first people I see. I don't think you remember this. And I was like, holy shit, this girl she could probably beat my ass. I'm sure you've gotten that quite a bit.
I mean, so it's weird, and this is probably what you're getting at too. Is like when people talk to me like outside of wrestling, like, "Oh my gosh, you're so nice," and then when they see me like at shows or in the ring, like, "Oh my god, like you're two different people." So it's always funny. It's always funny.
I mean, isn't that the whole thing in wrestling though? Like, it's 10 times the person that you are in real life. As far as when you built your character in wrestling, I mean, like, how did you go about doing that?
Oh man, I'm still building it. I wouldn't even say at first, when I first started, it wasn't even a character. It was just like, hey, I'm just happy to be here. Look at me wrestle. And then you reach a certain point where you're like, nah, you got to get a little bit of depth. You can't just be like, guys, I'm happy to be here, jazz hands. So I think my character is always evolving. I feel like, I'm always like trying to work on it and trying to make it better. But right now, it's something I'm trying to make maybe more relatable to fans. When I wrestle locally, I feel like there's a relatability there just because, some of those people in the crowd like might know me or whatever. But when I go out to other places, I think like they're just hyped to see, like you said, like, oh, look at this badass. And people just want to, see something go down there. But I want to be more than just like, I'm this badass, but I want to be more than just that. So I'm always trying to look deeper at what my character can be. I don't want to be like female Brock Lesnar, but that's not going to work for everybody. So I'm still trying to feel it out. Right now, it's a badass that doesn't care who she's wrestling. It, she wants to prove that she can take him down. She'll eat him alive. Like, man, woman, beast, alien, whatever it is.
Alien, huh?
Alien.
Is that a shot at someone that we know?
Oh, I mean, I don't know, maybe. No, I love Chris. She's awesome.
I didn't necessarily know. You brought that in there.
It's a hot topic right now, okay? They just saw UFOs the other day or something like that.
It is, right.
Yeah.
I didn't necessarily know, if that was her just like going to another AEW event.
It was. Okay, what happened was I think her hyperdrive broke on her UFO, so she, for that split second, was viewable to the untrained eye, I think.
Do you think it was her driving it, or do you think she had a driver?
No, I think she's a do-it-yourself type of alien. She got to get that done herself. She was, and like you said, on the way to the AEW side.
Exactly. We're going to go with that. So it's funny, Savannah, you mentioned about, talking about like a female Brock Lesnar. We hear a lot of, UFC fighters, MMA fighters transferring over to WWE and just wrestling in general. How do you feel about people from that sport coming over to wrestling, especially with someone like Ronda Rousey with comments that she makes about, calling wrestling fake fighting?
I think that is just to get like attention on themselves, but just in general of maybe like other sport athletes coming into wrestling, it's always kind of, I guess weird is the word. Like you can look at it as, well, this person's been playing football their whole life. Like what do they know about wrestling? Or, is that going to really translate over into wrestling? Or this Olympic swimmer, like how are they going to do in wrestling? And some people look at it from an aspect of, well, why are they popular because of this? You know what I mean? Because they didn't start out in wrestling. But I mean, that doesn't mean that there's not a spot for certain people on rosters and stuff. Like look at Ronda, look at Shayna. They are etching that name for themselves in wrestling after having done it in MMA. So I guess if their model isn't broken, don't fix it.
I mean, does it bother you at all, those comments like that? Or when people call wrestling fake?
Oh, yeah, it always does. So my trainer is super old school, Mr. Number One, George South. He instills it in you, like anyone that calls wrestling fake, they just don't know. I think it's interesting now, though, like you said, the Ronda Rousey comment, like they're using that to their advantage, I think, with that one in WWE.
You think it's more of a work then?
I mean, I think it's a way for her to get, more attention, more eyes on Ronda Rousey as she's coming back into, wrestling or whatever it is that she's trying to do.
No, of course. Yeah, I personally think the same. I think Ronda Rousey, she's a smart woman, and she's a natural heel. You follow MMA.
Oh, yeah, everyone hated her.
Right, exactly. For her to come in wrestling and be, smiling all the time, it just didn't necessarily work. Ronda Rousey's her best when she's herself. Now, did you practice MMA at all yourself or no?
No, I didn't. I've been wanting to get into, at least doing some type of martial arts for, just staying in shape and, conditioning, or just, something else to try that could help and benefit my wrestling career too. But I have not taken that step. I guess baby steps. I've reached out to a couple people, but this year I definitely do want to incorporate that more for sure.
Now, you're talking about you have an old school trainer. There's a lot of people like legends, and I shouldn't say a lot, but there are a few legends and old school people that have that mentality about women in wrestling. I'm sure you heard some comments maybe by Jim Cornette and Billy Graham. How do you necessarily feel about that?
Well, first of all, I want to say my trainer always had faith in me. I know there are some places where maybe obviously in the past girls have gone to training and they're the only girl there, and they kind of get flack from trainers or other wrestlers, but I never got that training. George always instilled faith in me and always instilled confidence in me, and we would do shows birthday party shows or just training shows. Being the only woman in those situations, he put me as the star basically.
Wow.
So he always had faith, in me and in my ability as a woman in pro wrestling. I just think people nowadays are really open to women wrestling, and I'm really happy to see that. A lot of fans now are super supportive of women doing their thing. When I go to shows, the thing that really gets me and that is the hugest, smile on my face is when, whether I'm, good guy, bad guy, I'm at the merch table and, little girls come up to me and they're like, oh my gosh, that was amazing. Or when I wrestle guys and little boys come up to the table and you kicked his ass. I'm like, yeah, I did. Don't cuss. So I think we're in the middle of an era, if you want to say, or a generation where people are way more accepting of women wrestling.
No, absolutely. Wrestling, women's wrestling in general has come a long way since, the whole give divas a chance. Now, did you feel the indies were ahead of the curve as far as that goes? Or do you think WWE was the last to make that change?
That's actually a good question. I think with WWE, it's different for them because they are, they have their TV deals and they have so many more eyes on them. And I think they're in a position where they have to kind of watch what content they're putting on TV. And so, for example, let's just say intergender wrestling. WWE's kind of been well, we're not going to have this. So indies are kind of ahead of the curve in that aspect. There were a couple WWE matches back in the day that they're a girls mixing it up with the guys or whatever. But I think for the most part, they have that image to kind of protect. And so indies are ahead of that curve, I feel like. But just women wrestling in general, I don't know. I want to say WWE kind of was here's your Divas Revolution after people were already super interested in women's wrestling already. But it created a surge of, I think, more people agreeing, I do care about watching women wrestle, or, yeah, this is not just going to be my bathroom break. But I think, I don't know. Women's wrestling definitely, deserves a bigger look. Now when you go to indie shows, it's not just one women's match. You'll get 2 or 3, or you'll get that intergender match, that people are looking forward to. So I don't know. It really just depends.
Do you enjoy working intergender matches?
I do. I really, really do. And I feel you can learn just little things that the guys do differently than maybe some of the girls do. But I feel I always learn something in an intergender match. I love working James Drake, the real James Drake, not the UK one. Shady Drake. I've had 2 matches with him, and I look back on them, and I'm like, man, I should have done this better. I should have done that better. But there's always something to learn, and he's been a huge person for me to learn from. I definitely want a 3rd match with him. But yeah, I love intergender wrestling.
Now, you say you learn some stuff from the guys. What's something you can learn from the guys as opposed to when you work another woman?
I don't know, specifically particulars, but I just feel and of course, it doesn't go with for every girl, but the guys bring like a different like tenacity, like a different attitude, a different flavor to what they're doing. And then it's always interesting, like having that dynamic of a woman wrestling a dude. The crowd's going to automatically want to cheer for the girl. So it just seems a little more special, maybe because it's not as common as like a girl wrestling a girl. But I also feel like nowadays you are getting more and more intergender matches, and everyone has their thoughts and opinions. But I really feel like as long as it's done properly, you know, it's fine. You can create that good art and tell that good story.
No, absolutely. I mean, you know, we saw an Impact, you know, Tessa Blanchard winning the TNA World Heavyweight Championship, you know, which is a major milestone in professional wrestling in general. You know, do you feel like that's something that can now be more attainable in different wrestling organizations?
Yeah, I think it's the first time something like that has happened, like been televised, you know, world champion, a female world champion. It's not the same as like another indie that doesn't have TV and they're putting like a title on, you know, their first female competitor. Like, so that's big. That's something for women's wrestling in general, and no one can take that away from her. She'll always be, you know, the first one. And I think that also needs to be handled delicately. Like, I think it shouldn't be a thing where 3-4 girls in a row holding the world title. Like, I think it needs to be something special. It needs to be looked at as like a big moment for a while, you know? Right.
But now, for you as a competitor, though, I mean, does that open your eyes a bit? I mean, was that something that was even in your eye line?
Man, I was trying to get a contract first before I started thinking about being TNA World Heavyweight Champion. Man, I'm working for that contract first.
You bring up contracts. I mean, is there a preference that you would have right now? Do you watch the current product in general?
Sometimes. I have not been keeping up with Impact lately. I would maybe say the thing I watch the most would probably be WWE, but I haven't really kept up a ton either. So yeah, But for your original question, I don't know that I have a preference on contract. I think not everyone, but a good majority of people want to be in WWE making that good WWE money. But I think there's also, as we see, like a ton of other options. Like you can go to AEW and have your own creative freedom and do your art the way you want to do it and still make, you know, a living. You know, you can go to Japan also, make a living. I think it depends on how you look at it. I'm trying to be out everywhere and do as much as I can.
Well, what's more important to you as far as that goes? I mean, you see someone like Matt Hardy, right? He goes to WWE. You know, it seems like, you know, he tried to put his creative input in there, and it just reached to a certain level, and it showed. And then the moment he goes to AEW, it just opens the doors. I mean, how important is that aspect to you?
Oof. I mean, that's tough because the kid in me obviously wants to be on WWE TV. But I think oftentimes you hear situations where, like you're saying with Matt Hardy's situation, that it's not always the best situation to have your own creative input and control over, you know, your character and what you want to do, how you want to look, that kind of thing. So I think AEW, like I said before, is a great opportunity for people to go there and continue to have their own say in what it is they're doing.
Has AEW really changed the game that much? Because I can imagine comparing, you know, wrestling to football players. You know, you grow up like, you know, a football player in Texas, right? And, you know, the NFL is always going to be the dream. And then all of a sudden you have XFL, but NFL still got to be the dream. Is that still the case here with like wrestlers? WWE, is it still the NFL, or is AEW a good proper outlet? Does it change the way people are thinking as far as where they want to go in their dreams as far as growing up?
I think WWE is still the NFL, but I think the way that AEW kind of opened people's eyes was that they seem to have the money to, you know, produce the shows the way they want and have everything, like I said, produced and put out the way they want, and creative control with characters and pay the wrestlers a living wage. So it becomes another viable option, I would say. They're not at the point where they're as big as WWE, but I think I was saying yesterday, it's basically like the company that you and your friends design, but you actually have the money to do it.
Yeah, it seems like, you know, they have a good working recipe to actually compete with WWE. I think it's the first time we've seen anything like this since WCW, possibly.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you know, you do see a lot of indie wrestlers, right? That, you know, they do make it to AEW or WWE. It looks like more so WWE that falls into this trap. where, you know, they make a name for themselves in the indies, but then they fizzle out. What do you think happens there with that?
It depends, too, on how big of a name, how big of a star they were on the indies, how much interest there is, you know, people are showing interest online or however it may be in that person. Because we saw the phase where people would come in, you know, hot off the indies, and they would get a complete, like, name change and everything else. And I think that worked for some, and then it didn't work for others. But I think now it's, to me, it seems more like they're letting people kind of keep their indie image, you know, an indie name, and kind of let them ride off that buzz that they had on the independents. But there's always stories of the hot indie guy that got signed and then was stowed away in NXT or SCW for years, and then, you know, either never made it to the main roster or got frustrated and quit, or made it to the main roster and it's not the same. You know, it's not the flair that they once knew on the indies. Or you come in like AJ Styles and people are like, hey, that's AJ Styles. And, you know, and he does his thing. And, you know, that, I think that was a good outcome for him.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, AJ Styles, I think, is probably the most popular, at that point especially, the most popular indie wrestler.
That had not been under contract yet.
Right. Is that a little fear for, you know, for wrestlers like yourself, for in the indie world in general? Like, you know, they get that contract and it's not what it's cracked out to be?
Yeah, I think that's why, you know, some people like the idea of AEW over WWE, because I think there's less of that chance of, hey, we're going to tell you how to go about this character, and there's no, you know what I mean? And, like, there's no door left open to kind of, like, fizzle out because you were in NXT for a year and a half and whatever else.
Now, say you do go to WWE, right? What's, like, the worst possible scenario in your head as far as a gimmick?
Oh, my gosh. I don't know. Honestly, the worst gimmick would be, like, nothing. Or, like, hey, hey, you're going to be this lamp that stands in the corner, like, in the background of someone else's vignette. You know what I mean? Like, you're just a background character. I guess for me personally, like, I'm super upbeat, but to play maybe like a Valley girl, like I know I say like every 5 seconds, but if they gave me that character, I'm like, well, how far do I go with this? Like, do I have this on-screen boyfriend that's always like, oh, I'll buy you this, and is she spoiled? Like, I don't know. I don't know that would be, like, I think that's a thing I could do, but I wouldn't really feel passionate about it. Well, but I'm sure a lot of people in WWE are in that position where they were given a gimmick maybe they didn't like, but they're going to do the best they can with it. You know, some people got fired. Some people were like, never mind, I'm going to leave.
Right. I mean, you look at someone like The Undertaker, you know, obviously he was given that gimmick. But, you know, that gimmick, if it given to anybody, would have fizzled out right away. You know, he was able to evolve that character over time. It's still a main figure today in the wrestling world.
Yep.
Now, talking about contracts, you know, with everything that's going on right now, it's affecting businesses everywhere, including wrestling. And, of course, you know, we saw that we saw a lot of people getting released from WWE. It's still going on right now. How does that impact the indies in general? I mean, you know, how do you necessarily feel about that when you see that?
Well, I thought about that the other day, actually. Like, some of these indies that maybe aren't as big as others, like, do they come back from this? Will they financially be able to? But I feel like the heart of the indies is to keep going. I think eventually we'll reach a point where we will kind of come back from this. It's definitely a bummer. You know, you just hop on Twitter, you see people like going stir crazy in their homes and you know, just a million tweets a day like, man, I really want to wrestle. I really want to wrestle. So impact wise, like mentally, I think wrestling kind of has to come back.
I guess it's a matter of like, you know, what does that look like when we do come back?
Right. You know, yeah, I've definitely heard all kinds of theories about, you know, if your building can only hold 100 people and then by regulation you can only have like 30 fans in here or whatever the case is, like, do we come back to that? Do we come back to where, you know, it's mandated that people wear masks at shows? Or and I think it'll be interesting to see what does happen.
Are you concerned at all as far as like, you know, with wrestling possibly coming back too soon?
You'd kind of have to be crazy not to be concerned about it. obviously people are going to want to come back, and, are we coming back too soon? That's the current question everyone's facing with, all of the shelter-in-place mandates are now starting to lift, or I guess in George's case has already lifted. Is it too soon? Should we wait? I don't know. I think you kind of just have to take it by baby steps, for sure. Like, you do want to protect the wrestlers, you want to protect the promoters, you want to protect the fans, do what's right, what's best for them. So it is kind of crazy. Like, I personally do have an autoimmune disease, so it does make me question, how careful should I be, or how does it impact me differently, I guess, a quote unquote normally, right. Like a normal functioning person. I don't know. I think everyone should just be cautious and try to be as safe as they can be.
Say you're the promoter, right? What guidelines would you then taking place as far as what would you like to see as far as being taking place to safely run a wrestling organization post COVID-19?
I think first maybe like open air shows, like maybe we go back to having outdoor shows. Maybe that way, because we're not as enclosed in one tiny area. But I honestly don't know what I would do.
COVID-19 or not, let's just make that a thing.
Exactly. Every promotion is mandatory.
I hope Anthony Cole is listening to this right now, BCW.
Oh, man. There is a company in South Carolina, OSCW, and every year they have a beach show, and it's the best thing ever. Like, it's so fun. They have the ring behind a bar, so it's on the sand. Like, my wrestling boots were full of sand by the end of the show, but like, so there's a balcony at the bar, upstairs and downstairs, so fans can like sit there and they can drink and watch the show. Obviously, there are chairs set up around the ring as well, and in the background is the ocean. So it's kind of like, it's really cool atmosphere. I enjoy doing it every year.
So, in a spot in a match where you're laying down the ring, are you just like, all right, let me just milk this out for everything it's worth? Take in the sun, listen to the waves.
It would be nice to sunbathe for a second, but then you remember not only the sand that's underneath you, but the canvas is on fire. Like, the ring is hot.
Oh, man.
From the sun. Like,
that's something I would never even think about.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, man. See, then you're like cringing every time like you hit the mat.
Yeah. You're hitting the mat and you get like sand grinding into your back, but also that canvas is on fire.
Ooh, so it's not as fun as we think it might be.
It's still fun. It's still a different experience.
One thing I want to touch on actually is, you were talking about social media before. You go on social media and, you see like a lot of people that talk about they miss the wrestling, but we're also seeing a lot of social media challenges. Have you participated in any of those? How do you feel about that?
I don't know. Like, well, first of all, let's talk about TikTok for a second.
TikTok is like bigger than ever right now.
Yes, because everyone is at home and they're like, hey, let's hop on TikTok. I don't know. I think like that kind of took over during quarantine, but just to keep, people occupied and busy, their mind off of things. But the one challenge I did participate in was the Don't Rush challenge.
Yeah, those look a lot of fun.
I like forced myself to do it.
Did you not want to do it, or you're just like, you're like, yo, come on?
Yeah, my friends were just kind of like, we're going to do this. You want to, send me your video and I'll put everyone's video together and we'll do this. So I was like, all right, cool. And then when it came down to actually making the video, I'm like, oh, God. Like, first of all, I have not worn makeup during this whole quarantine. And I was like, man, am I going to have to put makeup on? So I did for the TikTok. But it was fun, though. It ended up being really fun. Again, another way to pass time during the quarantine. Like,
right. We're
going to create all these challenges.
Right. This would have never happened in the 90s. We were quarantined then.
Could you imagine?
No, I don't want
First to. First of all, dial up.
AOL would suck during this.
All of that stuff would have crashed. There could not have been this many people on there at one time back then.
No, and we would go nuts. We would go absolutely nuts.
And then, speaking of which, my roommate brought it up again, too. Like, surprised that nothing technology, like cell phone wise, has kind of crashed since then, right? Because everyone's on their phone right now because we have nothing else to do. I would assume that something would have happened.
That goes to show how strong these towers are.
I guess, man.
Let's hope it's not jinxed.
Yeah, I don't want to have just jinxed everyone and everyone's last couple of weeks of quarantine. They don't have their phones on them.
But, talking about social media, though, I guess, that's another way to stand out as a wrestler. I know, like, in my world in acting, there's a lot of artists out there, but there's people that view this as a business as well, and social media is part of the business. Do you find that trend to be the same in wrestling, as far as like, social media, so much work?
So I think there's at least two sides to that conversation. The first one is, yes, social media is part of my job to network and create as much content for myself as I can, get as many eyes on me, use all the hashtags, put out my daily video or my daily pictures and interact with fans or promoters or whatever have you. And then there's also the opposite side that's like, no, because I don't want to be, maybe it's a problem, I don't want to be out of character on social media, or maybe, that's not something that I want to do. It's weird. It's a weird thing, but yes,
how do you separate that? Like, it's weird. Like, I've gotten this advice before too, because like, I do act. I mean, it's a real thing. And, I have a brand manager for that. I have my whole brand and everything. But, in wrestling, my wrestling persona, has been more of a heel, and like trying to combine the both, it's tough to do. How do you balance that?
Oh, I don't do it very well at all. Because like I said, there's the two sides. There's the side that's like, if I interact with these fans too much, it creates a sense of like familiarity with them, and they don't see you in a certain light maybe anymore. Like you're now their best friend instead of a superstar or something like that. But I think that works to some people's advantage. Some people that their following is so huge and it relies on the fact that they are so in tune with their fans and their audience and interacting with them and that kind of thing. So I feel like I try to balance it. I'm not going to be on social media, crying, complaining about every little thing. No. Because first of all, you don't want to put negativity out there like that. Like, oh my God, I tried to, make breakfast this morning and stove broke. Like, no one wants to hear about that, or no one wants to hear you complain about whatever
politics or whatever
whatever political thing is going on out there. So I just try to be mindful mostly of that, of not putting negative stuff out there, but also still kind of trying to be relatable at the same time, but so not too relatable. It's a weird tightrope.
It totally is. I'm still trying to figure it out. Like I know my character's gradually going through a face turn, which is great for me. It makes things easier. But no, I mean it's tough to do because you don't necessarily. You see a lot of wrestlers like kind of break the kayfabe on social media, and it seems to be fine. But then you have like the old school people like, hey, never break kayfabe.
Right. I think it's also, to what you said before, I meant to touch on that. When you say like, in acting and you have someone that sometimes take care of that stuff for you, there's very minimal of that in wrestling. A lot of professional dudes have someone that kind of helps them handle, whether it's like their bookings or their creative content they're putting out on Twitter or Instagram or whatever it is, but majority of people don't. So that's just them making their own decisions about what content they're going to put out and whatnot. So I think that also opens its own can of worms too.
No, absolutely. I'm surprised more wrestling schools don't, teach at least like, the business side of things in wrestling, including social media and marketing. Because, that's a whole other part of it as well. Even acting schools, they don't necessarily teach that. Those are just separate seminars that you just have to take, wherever you might find it. But, it's part of the business, it's part of the art.
Right. And I've definitely been to seminars where that's exactly how it's approached, where it's, here's the best way to save money when you're on the road. Here's the best way to, budget your meals. Here's the best way to, whatever it may be. Like I have been seminars like that, and they're definitely very helpful. And I think everyone could benefit from stuff like that, as far as let's do a rental car instead of taking someone's actual car because the rentals are covered and stuff like that. As we just have to put down, like we just have to make sure we have our money on this down payment on this rental, just like stuff like that, or maybe things that you would never think about. I think that's very important too for kind of every wrestler to know.
Exactly, because it gives them the longevity. Because you could easily go broke in wrestling when you first start off, especially with all the money you have to throw in as far as like, the merchandise you get, the ring attire, the school, you're starting off in the red, and how do you get into the black? I think that's something like, not every successful wrestler or not every wrestler figures out, because the successful ones do.
Right. Yeah. I completely agree with that.
And same goes for acting or whatever art you want to insert here.
Yeah, people eventually learn what's going to work best to help them, like get ahead or help them succeed. So yeah.
Savannah, hopefully we do get out of this soon. What is something that we could look forward to seeing from you when things go back to normal? Have you been working on anything during this?
Yeah, I would definitely like to have a bunch of new merch after this. I already have one design that I like, and I kind of gave the green light to start having new merch. Like right now, I just have I have shirts and 8x10s. But I also want to have, smaller items that, when the kids drag their parents to the show, I'm like, hey, Mom, can we get whatever? And the parents are like, sure, you can get the souvenir. But sometimes the parents aren't as willing to shell out, $20 per kid. So it can turn into like, hey, maybe let's get like these stickers or these buttons or these pens. So I do want to get, a lot of that kind of stuff too.
It's creative.
So I have plans for that right now.
Awesome. Well, Savannah Evans, thank you so much for joining us for Shot of Wrestling for this interview. It's been a pleasure. Where can we find you on social media?
Yeah, no, I definitely had a good time. I'm glad you guys could have me on here today. My social media is as follows. Twitter, because someone has Savannah Evans, and I'm going to see what I can do about that. Mine is Savannah Evans, the letter N, the letter V. This girl hasn't tweeted since 2011. I'm going to try to do something about that.
You need the wrestler to get that.
I do.
I do. There's only one Savannah Evans.
It's probably some old lady that forgot she made a Twitter.
It's going to be an easy win then.
Yeah, there you go. And then for Facebook and Instagram, it's Savannah Evs, just EVS, because, again, Savannah Evans was taken. So I just stuck with that. But yeah, please, interact with me, follow me. I try to post as much as possible on my Facebook, but I think what I post the most on is probably Twitter and Instagram. But yeah, I have my fan page on Facebook, and then of course I just opened up my Pro Wrestling Tee store maybe 2 weeks ago. So both my tees are on there. Check them out. I really appreciate it.
Awesome. We could find you on TikTok as well?
Oh, no TikTok. I like that you threw that in there, though. Full circle.
Well, this has been fun. Savannah, but don't go anywhere. We're going to be going back to you for last call. But in the meantime, back to the studio.
This is Savannah Evans. Thank you for listening, but we're not done yet. Stay tuned until the end of the episode for last call.
It's time for this week's TV Takedown.
Thank you again, Savannah Evans. Again, I have to say, when I first met her, I was very intimidated by her. But it's good to see that I had different light to her. And guys, make sure you stay tuned to the end of this episode where we have the last call with Savannah Evans.
Great job.
Thank you.
Beginning of the show, I said I was in a great mood. None of you guys asked me why. You guys are assholes.
Why?
Oh, too late. It's fine. But watching TV this week, Raw was very good. SmackDown was very good. NXT was very good. Impact was very good. Mark, I'm assuming you'll tell me AEW was very good. I just felt like this week was an adrenaline shot to make me, again, passionate about wrestling again. I have at least three, including backstage. I have at least three things from every show to talk about. Eric, I know you mentioned you disagree with me. Mark, I think you probably disagree with me as well. I guess glass half full, glass half empty here.
I disagree with you. I'm more on Eric Jane's side on this one, man. I don't necessarily see what was so special about this week.
Oh, I loved it. Every show this week was fantastic.
What the hell you were watching, Michael J? Because I wasn't watching the same thing you were watching.
Did you watch Raw? You watched Smack? Raw was fantastic, beginning to end. SmackDown was fantastic. Impact was awesome.
Okay.
I know not people are watching Backstage. Backstage was fantastic. Getting the view of the Dragon's Den, getting a tour of Ricky the Dragon Steamboat's personal collection of memorabilia. That was awesome. Just this week just gave me invigorated again because I was losing my passion for this business. And this week, boom, I'm all in again. But you guys disagree with me, so you guys are going to rain on my parade. Let me get my umbrella. Mark, the floor is yours.
All right, so my takedown moment of the week it was tough for me because, of course, Becky Lynch, they set the bar pretty high with her news. I've been calling AEW for the last few weeks. This time I'm actually going to go with a Monday Night Raw moment. Randy Orton, when he's on, man, that man's on. I didn't necessarily like the whole segment itself. I felt like the ending to it was kind of awkward.
Very awkward.
But Randy Orton, his delivery on his promo and everything he had to say it was compelling. It makes me want to see more of this rivalry. And the fact that he was just how he was selling just a regular wrestling match. Very well done by Randy Orton. Great storytelling.
Eric?
Why are we doing this? Are you guys serious? Why are we doing this? What moment? I still, Michael J. What are you?
It could be
drinking?
a moment that you liked, but also didn't like. So, what didn't you like about this week?
This week, it was nothing that I liked this week. Michael J. What are you smoking?
Daniel Bryan versus Drew Gulak.
Yeah, was there anyone that stood out to you at all? Like even like a moment of like a glimpse of someone that you were like, all right, this person's catching along. Even any positive at all, Jaden?
Derek, what do you watch? Do you watch Raw? Do you watch NXT? Do you watch AEW?
I watch pretty much of everything. I'm still. Let me see. Let me think about this one.
It's a tough one this week. It's so much to pick from. I still don't know what to talk about.
Adam Cole.
Baby.
Adam Cole.
Yeah. He is still phenomenal. Great delivery and promos. Great in work in the ring. He can go in match and fight anybody basically with any style. I seen him go hardcore. I seen him go spots. I seen him just traditional wrestling match, tag match. The guy is a all around worker wrestler. I would love to see him finally leave that NXT realm, go to the main roster, but at the same time, everybody who goes to the main roster, there's always some curse that happens with them, and they get watered down. So I kind of worry. So what I love to see is his contract finally ends. He jumps ship to AEW and becomes the AEW World Heavyweight Champion.
I think maybe a jump ship to another company might benefit him because, you're talking about Adam Cole right now, Eric Jaden. Much due respect to you. I respect your opinion. I respect everything you say. But Eric, I'm not going to lie. I don't remember anything Adam Cole did this past week. Adam Cole, and I know I've seen some of his matches. I've seen some of his promos. He's got some bright spots in there. But I just feel like with NXT on there, what happens is just everyone's such a cookie cutter version of each other. And no one really stands out to me. And I again, praise to Adam Cole, praise to what you said about them, because I believe what you say is true. I think if he jumps ship to AEW, NWA, even any other company, he might stand out a little bit more.
I agree. And you know what? Actually, the guys, let me take a step back. Thank you for saying that, right? Because now I'll what I didn't like. AEW, okay? You go into a match where you have Joey Janela against American Nightmare, Cody, right? Cody, polished, veteran, looks the part, plays the part, okay? He is built. A match against Joey Janela. Now, Joey Janela, we know him from the independent scene, correct?
Yep.
Right.
We all do. And I watched that match, and it really turned me off. Why? Because it seemed awkward. It seemed like Cody was just leading him to the match. And Joey Janela didn't even impress me, to be honest. He didn't. He had no build to him. He had no nothing. He looked like really an independent wrestler. When you're
talking about that was in this past week. That was the week before. I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah. I wanted the match to be more than what it was. It didn't necessarily highlight Joey Janela to the best that he could do. Cody was Cody, of course. The match kind of. It's if you've never seen Joey Janela before, I think it just left a bad taste in your mouth because it's just not necessarily doing him justice.
It didn't do him justice. And you know what? And a word to any of the workers that when you ever get into a national TV contract deal, when you have national TV exposure, you want to look the part and at least get some muscle tone, some muscle definition. You want to look like you're an actual wrestler and a fighter.
So, Putty, let's hear it, man. What was it? What is
so
it?
much to choose from. How do you narrow it down? You got the Daniel Bryan Drew Gulak match. I'm very intrigued about this potential MVP stable. Finally, a stable I'm excited about because there's missing stables. It's all 3-man teams. Give me a fucking stable again.
WWE doesn't even know how to do stables anymore, so don't get your hopes up.
I'm going to get my hopes up. I think they're going to bring it back. Moose on Impact, what he's doing with the TNA Championship, I could go on and on. But going back with Money in the Bank, someone I'm a big fan of for a while, someone I don't think gets her due. She stole the show at Money in the Bank. She won again tonight on SmackDown. Dana Brooke, I'm hoping this leads to something because she deserves it more than anybody right now on any roster on both Raw or SmackDown. She's a worker. She's putting her time in. She's great in the ring. She needs work on the promos. But she stole the show, the Money in the Bank match itself, and now I think she's in line for some sort of potential push, maybe?
Okay, time out. Dana Brooke. I love Dana Brooke. I
don't think you do.
I do. I really do, and I want more from her. But what are they giving her character-wise? So, yes, her in-ring work is getting better.
Yeah.
Her promos, they definitely need work. But, what is Dana Brooke? What is her character? I'm seeing nothing there.
What's
want
Aleister
more
Black's
from her.
promo?
I love her.
What's Aleister Black's gimmick? I hate Aleister Black. He's boring. I fall asleep. I fast forward his shit every week. What's his character?
I like his intro. That's the problem.
You like his intro. You like his intro. Exactly. His intro's cool. But he gets the graphic in Chirons. He gets a cool smoke thing. But is he into black arts? Does he do magic? Is he into devil worshipping stuff? He just raises with candles. What's his gimmick? What's he do? We don't know.
No one's selling any characters at all.
He's boring. Yeah, exactly. I agree. There's no character. This guy. He's boring as fuck.
You're fucking crazy, man. Aleister Black has a great character. He's a warrior. He's a fighter.
What's his character?
Okay. I told you right now. He's a warrior. He's a fighter. He's a martial artist.
Okay, so why does that? What's her character? Why does that explain the cryptic messages, the graphics, the rising out of nowhere from the candles?
Michael J.
What is that? What is that? It's nothing.
Well, it's the mystique of him. A mystique of a warrior. Okay, a mystique of he represents an ancient art. Of martial arts. That's why he throws the kicks. He throws the shots, the jabs, all that. His quickness on there.
So sell him like that. Sell him like that.
Okay, but he's a gimmick. What does Dana Brooke have? Eye candy. That's about it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. That's the gimmick.
Well, Dana Brooke has no character, no gimmick. So because she's been a nobody for a while. Now she's winning.
Is that Dana Brooke's fault or is that creative?
Creative.
Goddamn right.
So now they're giving her wins. They're giving her standout moments during the Money in the Bank match. Remember Dana Brooke in that match. She won again against Naomi. This could lead to a character. This could lead to. I'm excited to what the future holds for her here. That's what I'm saying. This is the potential. This is the launching point for her.
It's not necessarily just character. And, I kind of take it back in a way with Aleister Black. He does have some character. But the thing is, the problem with Aleister Black, why he's falling flat, is that they're not giving good storylines. There's no real good storylines for to carry forward to make me invest into the character.
Yeah, it's not his fault.
There's no steady story that's going to build the character. That's the whole thing.
And I also feel like since he's on Monday Night Raw, and I hate to bury people, but commentary, they're not doing a good enough job selling anyone on Monday Night Raw as far as their characters go to make me feel emotionally invested into them.
The commentary? How about the NXT commentary? I'm so tired of Ronaldo just yelling and screaming. That's all he does. Oh my god.
He knows the moves. Good for you. You're a spot monkey. You can call those moves great. That's
spot monkey.
But just for the fact that you're yelling and you're trying to invoke emotion, that's not invoking emotion. Just you give me a headache. Go back and study some tape. I'm sorry if I'm going to say this, and it might cause a relapse if he hears this. Not for nothing. I mean, you look at someone like JR back in the day. He sold the emotion. Not just he would sell moves every now and then. He would definitely tell you the story, but he would sell you the emotion. And Morrow needs to do more of that. I think he's overrated, in my opinion. I hate to say it. I think we get a lot of hate for it, but he's overrated.
At Mark Schwann, CHOUEN.
YourFavoriteActor.com. Hit me up.
He should study some Gorilla Monsoon. That's what he needs to study.
Oh, yeah.
Did you guys watch Money in the Bank? The first match until the penultimate main event was pretty much predictable. All there is to talk about is the Money in the Bank match itself. Your thoughts, real quick.
No. We were talking about the pay-per-view takedown. We're talking about Money in the Bank takedown. It's not the Money in the Bank match itself. I'm sorry. I went in there with an open mind. I wanted to like it, and I did not. The Money in the Bank, the match that stole the show for me, the moment that stole the show for me was the match between Drew McIntyre and Seth Rollins. Those two are phenomenal workers. Yeah. The chemistry is off the charts. And the
result wasn't surprising. That's what I meant. Like, the results from beginning to penultimate was.
But I don't care. It told the story at the same time.
Right,
because,
great. Awesome.
With what happened, though, with the handshake at the end, I was expecting maybe like a low blow from Seth Rollins or something else. But
me too.
It left him with confusion and dismay. And then what do we see on Monday Night Raw? We saw the storyline actually did continue. I'll give him credit for that.
Yeah, it was great.
And Seth Rollins actually, I kind of liked what he did there. He was just a man, like almost like he didn't even shower from that night. Like he just like
I was a mess. He just zoned out. Yeah, it was great.
And I dug it. I'm curious to see what happens next from that. But the match itself was phenomenal.
Eric?
Money in the Bank, I said it before, was a piece of trash, garbage.
You don't like anything about it? No, nothing.
The only thing I liked that stood out was, again, like Hollywood said, Seth Rollins and McIntyre. That was actually a great match. A story was actually told, okay, with the moves, and it had me invested. And once that match went away, everything else just went down the drain. The whole pay-per-view. I
kind of feel like I got to tap myself on the shoulder here because Mark and I had a conversation about Roman Reigns last week, episode 208, about Vince thinking his fans are actually stupid. I'm like, yeah, he does think we're stupid. And during that main event, the men in the Money in the Bank, I love the cameos. I love how they did it. But when Baron Corbin threw Rey Mysterio and now Aleister Black, air quotes, off the roof, right?
Can we talk about that, please?
Yeah, let me finish because they threw him off the roof. I'm using air quotes here. And it was designed to look like he was literally throwing them off the roof. The rumors going into that pay-per-view was there was a stunt planned where someone is going to get thrown off the roof. When they took the helicopter or drone shot, you see on the other side of those bushes was a black crash pad. So yeah, I guess Vince does think we're stupid because they didn't get thrown down 6 feet to a subroof. He got thrown over shrubs because you're showing us what they got thrown into, which was nothing. It was a crash pad. And I'm like, that was a mistake. Don't give me the helicopter drone shot if you're going to sell us they're getting thrown down a subroof when there's no subroof to get thrown down to.
Okay. Yeah. Can I go? Let me jump in because I'm so passionate about this incident, okay? If you have a planned spot, okay, that you're throwing two guys off the roof, okay, then that should be it. You throw the guys off the roof. Let's just say they landed in a lower roof landing.
Yeah, 6 feet.
But they still show up the next day for another show.
Yep.
You just killed the whole entire suspension of disbelief. Okay, that's stupid. That was ridiculous. The WWE dropped the ball big time. And when I saw that, I said, well, "Okay, let's see what happens." And they show up the very next day. With no scratches, no nothing. Come on, man.
Yeah, no sold it.
No.
Going back to what I said about the storytelling, maybe it isn't. Maybe I was maybe too harsh on saying bad storytelling because there are some storylines that are better than others. I think it's just inconsistent storytelling is the problem. They're very inconsistent with it because some storylines are good and other ones are just like, what's the story? I don't understand what's going on here.
It doesn't make sense. That's what I'm saying. You wasted time. And that was a pay-per-view, which a lot of people love because that pay-per-view sets up storylines pushing forward, okay? Sets up storylines pushing, onward. And you threw two guys through the roof. Give me a break. They should be dead, okay? If you're going to if kayfabe or not, if you throw two guys off the roof, they're dead. And even if they landed in a second roof landing, they'd still be in bad shape in the hospital right now with some broken bones and thing on it. They don't pop up the next day looking like they just woke out of bed.
Oh, but Jaden, they're superstars. They're superstars.
So going back to
come back the next day.
I watched Backstage with CM Punk, Christian, and Booker T. They were saying they expected more of a serious tone to this match, and they got more of a comedic tone to this match. Do you guys feel like there should have been a difference here? Do you think it should have been more serious, or do you guys appreciate the more comedic tone it took?
I think there was too much comedy in there. The one comedic moment I did not mind was with Vince McMahon. Of course, if there's going to be any cameo, of course, Vince McMahon's going to be in there.
Jeans. Everyone lost their mind. He's wearing jeans? What?
Right. That's the only spot I didn't necessarily have a problem with. Yeah, everything else was just too forced, too hokey. There was no purpose to it. It's a Money in the Bank match. So it's the most intense Money in a Bank ladder match that was being played up, and we had a comedy act. We had a few comedy acts in there. It just didn't fit.
Listen, guys, it's stupid. Why wouldn't you take the elevator all the way up? Why would you get off of certain floors to fight? Yeah. Okay, it doesn't make any sense on there. And then you put honestly, you know what? 3 guys are the only people that I feel so sorry for: Shayna Baszler, AJ Styles, and Daniel Bryan, because they had to endure the most stupidest match they ever had to go through. It was stupid.
The Undertaker documentary debuted after Money in the Bank. Do you guys watch this?
Yes.
Someone I've been waiting for a long time. We're getting an inside look of Mark Calloway itself. I watched the post-mortem show, and Sam Roberts said he wasn't sure if he even wanted to watch this because he wasn't sure if he wanted to see the human aspect of The Undertaker. Exactly. Both of you guys watch this. What do you guys think?
I think that's what
Quickly,
makes it much more interesting is because, like, Undertaker has been this mysterious character for 30 years, and now all of a sudden we're seeing a real side to him. I think that's much more intriguing. Even my wife, who's not a wrestling fan, stopped at one place. She gets the notifications from Bleacher Report. She's like, "Hey, I think I want to watch that Undertaker thing." I'm like,
"Yeah,
text
me that." Yeah,
okay, we can watch that.
Because it's funny because he also they said that he contacted Vince McMahon 3 days before WrestleMania 33. So I even think he even thought this was his last match.
Oh, of course. I mean, as you can tell, I think everyone thought it was going to be the last match. Michelle McCool even made some mention of that. It was just cool because we just see it. We take away the mystique in a way of Undertaker. We get to see the Mark Calloway for who he is, and but again, you just can't help but want to learn more and more and more about the man because in a way you're sitting down and it's a masterclass.
Yeah. Now, Eric, you're actually in the business as a wrestler itself. You're a performer.
Mm-hmm.
Your thoughts?
I loved it. It was nice to see, his private life, and then I hated it at the same time because
it took away from the character.
Yeah, Undertaker is one of the few dying last breed of wrestlers that actually stuck through
the last one actually.
Yeah. So basically, you lost Mystique.
Yep.
Okay, and he worked very hard for that Mystique. Okay, he never allowed the WWE to do anything on his private life. They've asked him before, and he said no. So he finally said yes on this time. So watching it again, it was interesting, and then it just took away from me because I just want to remember him as Undertaker, the great performer, the legend.
This might be it. This might be the year. We might see him hang it up because,
from the Boneyard match or one more match left?
I think it's going to be one more match left.
Okay.
I hope not.
Too many teases with AJ Styles. I think we're going to have one more time inside the ring, Undertaker, AJ Styles, and that's going to be it.
I was just kind of fascinated how he was so loyal to Vince McMahon. No matter what I do, does Vince like it? That's all that counts. Like, he's a Vince McMahon loyal guy through and through. Did the match suck? I don't care. But did Vince like it?
It's almost like an abusive relationship in a way.
Oh, yeah, almost, yeah. And even at 33, he's like, when Vince saw him in the trainer's room, like, do you like it? He's like, yeah, I loved it. Like, that's all that counts. I'm like, wow, that is such loyalty that we don't see anymore.
Yeah, that loyalty also equates to a lot of dollar bills in Mark's, bank account.
Well, he recently signed like a 15-year deal. So, yeah. And he deserves it. If anybody does, it's the Undertaker. So really looking forward to the next 5 parts every Sunday night on the WWE Network. And we'll keep you updated on our thoughts in the next 5 weeks. But any go-home thoughts? Let's wrap it up. Mark, any go-home thoughts for you?
Guys, I just want to say this. COVID-19 is still very real. With it or without it, I would say if you're walking your dog, especially in the city, please put a fucking leash on it. Just going to say that real fast because I've seen plenty of people in my area having their dogs without a leash, and it makes me very anxious. I don't care how good Tootsie is, or whatever you call your dog. Keep in mind there are other factors going on out there.
Yes, definitely.
Eric Jaden, your first time as a guest host here. Did you have fun? How did it go? Any go home thoughts?
Had a lot of fun, guys. Thank you so much. I want to reiterate what Mark said. Please, guys, we're still in a pandemic, COVID-19. Life is not normal. Life is not as usual. So, guys, take care of yourselves, on there. Don't do anything stupid. For all the workers out there, I know that you guys are hungry to get back in the ring. I know you are hungry to start working again, but let's do it right. Let's pretty much say, let's not support outlaw shows, okay, that might get workers injured, infected, or maybe fans. Wrestling right now is on a pause, but hopefully we'll come back very soon.
Eric Jaden, where can they find you on social medias?
Facebook, Eric Jaden, on Twitter at Follow the Bad Guy, and Instagram at Bad Guy Sexiness. Send me a message. Let me know. You want to chat? Any questions? I'm there.
So, Eric, thank you for joining us this week. Mark?
You can find me at Your Favorite Actor. And, guys, please feel free to follow us, A Shot of Wrestling, all forms of social media. We have Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, Shot of Wrestling, all across the board.
The hotline is open for 619-343-3005, or text us. If you don't hear your voice heard on the radio, you can send us a text message or email us, inbox@ashotofwrestling.com.
And huge thank you to Savannah Evans. Guys, please be sure to stay tuned for Last Call, which is next.
I've been your host at Michael J. Putty. Until next week, Putty out.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time I need to announce it's Last Call at the Bar.
Oh. All right, guys, welcome back for Last Call with Savannah Evans. Savannah, are you ready?
Ready.
What was your favorite Money in the Bank cash-in moment?
Oh man, the actual cash in. Because I love the matches. Edge's first one.
So, of course, we've been under quarantine this whole time. What is the one thing you've learned during this?
I think I've learned more about myself, like how to control certain things that I'm thinking or feeling or the way that I am, I guess, maybe. Like patience. I'll say patience.
All right. Hey, that's a good one. I mean, some people are learning banana bread. You learn patience. I think patience goes a longer way than banana bread.
I don't know. Banana bread is delicious. I've definitely been cooking a lot, but maybe I'll say patience for sure.
I dig it. Who is your favorite female superstar of all time?
Of all time is Lita.
That's a good one. Now, who is your toughest opponent?
Oh, overall toughness, Saraya Knight.
Wow. Yeah. All right. She's a badass woman.
She beat my ass, legit.
Now, you know all your other opponents are listening to this like, oh, word?
Right. Oh, I'm going to top that. They can try.
What's your favorite sport outside of wrestling?
I used to be really big into MMA, like when The Ultimate Fighter got popular, like 2004-ish. But other than that, I don't really keep up with a lot of sports.
Then who's your favorite athlete outside of wrestling, of course?
George St. Pierre.
Who was your wrestling crush or current wrestling crush, whichever one you prefer?
Growing up, it was definitely The Rock.
Honestly, I mean, that's my man crush today.
Yeah, it still stands. Yeah, that crush doesn't go away.
What is your favorite TV series of all time?
Oh, that's so tough. I'm going to go with the answer that the 12-year-old me would give, and I'm going to say X-Men, the animated series.
Oh, damn, man. A lot of people just pop for that one.
Yeah, no, for sure.
That's one of those things, you go, like, hear this episode back 2 years from now, you're like, yeah, no, I still stand by that.
Classic.
What was your favorite wrestling rivalry?
Ooh, that's tough. When I first started watching, it was definitely Rock and Austin, but I think that's they're in like everyone's, I think, that's top 5 favorite rivalries.
If that holds true for you,
I'll say them for real. You can't top that.
You know what? Honestly, they're actually not in my favorite category.
No way.
All right. So you're stranded on an island. What are 3 things you must have?
A dog, Chinese food, and I guess a cell phone maybe might be the obvious answer.
Right. I always
I'll die out there. Let's be honest. With those items, I'll die out there. But
cell phone,
I'll have a friend, so it'll be fine.
Cell phone's always everyone's number 1, but then it varies after that.
Yes.
Now, one last one, extra one. You said Chinese food. Specifically, which dish?
Orange chicken.
Hell yeah, son. All right, Savannah Evans, thank you for joining us for Last Call. Cheers to you. And we'll see you guys next week for another episode of A Shot of Wrestling.
Hey, baby, I hear the bell ringing, hip tosses and body slams. Oh, my. And maybe you seem a bit confused. Yeah, baby, but I got you pinned. Ha, 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 ha. But I don't know what to do when I see them with that golden case. They're cashing it in. Authority all in my face. What is a man to do? Good night, everybody.